My own family betrayed me on a baking show. Watch how I got revenge. There is no betrayal quite like the betrayal of a stolen recipe. Romantic betrayal? Painful? Workplace betrayal? Brutal. But watching someone else smile on live TV while biting into your signature caramel sea salt tart and calling it their grandmother's secret recipe? That's the kind of thing that makes you understand why people glare at whisks. I'm Jade. I bake. Professionally, but not glamorously. I run a tiny stall called Sugar Side Quest inside a busy food hall. My specialties, tarts, small cakes, and emotionally supportive cookies. For 3 years it was just me and my oven, crammed into a space designed by someone who clearly hated knees. Then one day, my cousin Lila blew back into town. Lila is what you get if you feed a golden retriever espresso and give it a ring light. She's a food influencer, millions of followers. Partnerships, brand deals. She once got paid to eat cereal on a beach. We should totally collab, she said on day 1, leaning on my counter and nearly knocking over a tray of cooling scones. You make the food, I make the buzz. Family success story. I was skeptical, but also tired. Rent had started creeping up. My oven needed therapy. A collaboration actually sounded smart. So we teamed up. We filmed videos, me baking, her doing commentary about gooey vibes and aesthetic crumbs. She posted, I prepped, and slowly, beautifully, Sugar Side Quest started getting lines. Then came Bake Off Downtown, the new streaming baking competition filmed right in our city. Winner got prize money, a feature article, and a year-long contract with a fancy kitchenware brand. You have to apply, Lila said, shaking me by the shoulders. This is your moment, Jade. Your tarts. That caramel sea salt one. It's your superhero origin story. Flattered and terrified, I agreed. I sent in a portfolio. A week later, I got the email. Congratulations! You've been selected to compete on Bake Off Downtown! I screamed. My oven clicked sympathetically. Lila insisted she'd be my unofficial coach. We'll train, she said. We'll rehearse. We'll soft launch your TV personality. We spent nights experimenting with flavors while she filmed behind-the-scenes clips. You're going to destroy them, she told me once, licking caramel off a spoon. This competition is practically written for you. I believed her. I believed a lot of things. 2 weeks before filming, I got an email saying they'd had more applicants than expected and had to adjust the lineup. My name was still on the competitor list, but, they added, we also found a last-minute local talent with a strong online presence. Your cousin, Lila. I read it 3 times. Lila. The same Lila who had given me a I could never handle the pressure of real baking speech not 3 days earlier. When I asked her, she gave me a shrug. They reached out to me, she said. I didn't even think they'd pick me, but hey, now we can be like a team. A competitive team. It's good TV. Something in my chest twisted, but I smiled. Sure, I said. Good TV. I started being more careful. When we practiced, I held back certain tricks, shared half recipes. For my signature challenge, I had a new spin on my caramel sea salt tart planned. An extra element, a hidden layer. I did not tell her that part. Trust me, she said one night, patting my arm. We're family. I'd never step on your moment. The thing about betrayal is that you almost always remember the sentence that came right before it. On the first day of filming, we walked onto set together. Bright lights, gleaming counters, judges who looked like they could detect overworked dough from space. Everyone got assigned a station. Mine was in the back row. Lila's was front and center, dead on for the main camera. Good TV, I whispered to myself. Very good TV. The first theme, a taste of home. Perfect, I thought. I'd make the tart, my tart, the one my mom and I had developed together during rainy weekends when there was nothing to do but experiment with too much butter. The clock started. I grabbed ingredients. The world narrowed to flour, sugar, butter, heat. And then I looked up. Lila, at her station, was pouring caramel, sprinkling sea salt, pressing a familiar pattern into the tart crust with the back of a fork. My fork pattern. My tart. My hands went cold, then hot. I must have made a sound because the camera nearest me swung in my direction. The director yelled, "Love that intensity, Jade! Keep it!" I wanted to launch a whisk. Instead, I smiled a smile that probably looked fine on TV and felt like it was stapled to my face. Lila called out over the noise. "Cousin Energy," she said brightly. "We're so in sync." Yeah. Sync. That's what we were calling it now. The judges adored her tart. "It's nostalgic but elevated," one said. "I've never had anything quite like this." I briefly considered astral projection. Then the oldest judge, Chef Romero, frowned thoughtfully. "This pattern on the crust," he said, tapping his fork on the TV screen replay. "Where did you learn that?" Lila laughed. "Oh, that's my little signature." My soul left my body, robbed a bank and came back. When they tasted mine, different flavor profile, different style, they called it bold but unfocused. Which is also how my therapist once described my dating history. I didn't get eliminated, but I was solidly in the middle. Lila, on the other hand, was declared one to watch. In the green room afterward, she hugged me. "Don't be mad," she whispered. "It was just one recipe. We'll differentiate next time." I pulled back. "You stole it," I said quietly. She rolled her eyes. "We share everything, Jade. That's what collab means. Besides, you'll think of something new." That night, I stared at the ceiling until the sun came up. Then I opened a notebook and started planning. Because if Lila wanted good TV, I was going to give her excellent TV. The next week's theme: remixed classics. Perfect. I showed up with a box of old recipe cards and an expression of angelic calm. Lila bounced over. "What are you thinking?" she asked. "Something retro," I said vaguely. "What about you?" "Baba o rum," she said confidently. "It's trending." I bit my tongue. Baba o rum required precision and patience, two things Lila typically outsourced. We took our places. Cameras rolled. Countdown commenced. I began making nothing impressive. Plain sponge, basic syrup, vanilla whipped cream. Simple, neat, boring. Lila, meanwhile, whispered the steps of Baba o rum to the camera like a spell. At one point she called over, "Jade, what temperature should the syrup be again?" I smiled. "Pretty hot," I said. "It'll be fine." Was that petty? Yes. Did I know she'd skip the part about cooling the syrup so it wouldn't turn the cake to mush? Also, yes. But the real revenge wasn't sabotage, it was timing. Because mid-episode, the host announced a mid-challenge twist. "Bakers, you must now present a short story about your dish's origins. The more authentic, the better." The floor manager gave my station a thumbs up. Because I had requested it. Weeks earlier, during the contestant prep calls, we'd been encouraged to suggest personal storytelling angles. I had pitched the idea of an authenticity challenge so hard I practically mailed them a PowerPoint. Now it was live. Lila shot me a nervous glance. She had no story for Baba o rum, Beyond saw it on an app, and it looked shiny. I, however, had brought props. When the time came, I launched into a story about my grandmother's rainy day cakes, how she'd bake plain sponge because it was cheap, then let us customize slices with syrups and toppings. I showed the judges her handwritten card. I talked about food waste, about making something special out of scraps. And today, I said, plating my deceptively simple cake with 3 homemade syrups and a build-your-own garnish board, I'm remixing her use what you have cake into a modern, interactive dessert. The judges lit up. This is joyful, Chef Romero said, and the story feels real. Lila stumbled through a vague explanation about European energy and classic vibes. Her cake, soaked in too hot syrup, fell apart on the fork. The judges were kind, but the disappointment was obvious. This feels undertested, one said. Elimination time. It wasn't her, not yet. Reality shows love a slow burn. But the edit? Oh, the edit. When the episode dropped, viewers saw her bragging about my tart. Oh, the crust pattern, coincidence. Her asking me for technical help on baba au rhum, and me, quietly shining with a down-to-earth dessert and a real story. Comments flooded in. Wait, isn't that Jade's tart from her stall? Not Lila claiming that pattern is hers, but, gently. Team Jade all the way. She's the real deal. Okay, nobody used a skull emoji on the show, but I could feel it. By week 3, I had become the underrated baker with heart. Lila had become the influencer cousin who maybe takes credit for things. By week 4, she was eliminated. They framed it kindly. You're talented, but baking isn't just style, it's substance. She cried on camera, mascara safely waterproof. After the episode dropped, her follower count dipped. Mine climbed. Our final twist came after the finale. I didn't win the whole competition. I came in second, which honestly felt perfect. Less pressure, more freedom. The winner deserved it. His croissants defied physics. But a few days later, I got an email from Bloom & Stone, a mid-sized but beloved cookware brand. We're launching a campaign about honest cooking. We'd like you to be the face of it. They wanted my recipes, my story, my name. At the end of the call, the marketing manager added, We were originally talking with your cousin, but the public response to the show made us rethink who embodies what we're trying to say. I didn't gloat. Out loud. Lila showed up at my stall a week later. No cameras, no makeup. Congratulations, she said quietly. On the show, the deal, everything. Thanks, I said, piping cream into shells. I didn't think it would matter, she said. Who posted what? Who said what? Online, it all blurs. It matters, I said. To me, it does. She nodded, eyes shiny. I'm sorry. I believed she meant it. We're not enemies. We're not close. We're just 2 people who now understand that we're family is not a free pass to steal someone's crust pattern. My stall is busier than ever now. People come in asking for the tart or the grandma cake or anything that involves caramel and emotional recovery. Above the counter, there's a small framed note from the show's crew. To Jade. Thanks for proving that the best revenge is just doing your own work, your own way, with your own name on it. And underneath, in my own handwriting, I've added, Also don't give your recipes to people who say, we'll just split it later. When customers ask if the show changed my life, I tell them the truth. Yes. It taught me that some people will try to steal your spotlight, your story, and your tart. Then I slide a box across the counter and add, But if you're patient and a little bit strategic. Life has a way of giving you a bigger oven,